everybody, welcome to the Fin Factor Live edition. This is the pre-shoot for episode number 67. We are here ready to take your comments and questions. Aaron has the laptop out, ready to rock. So I think that we already had a couple comments in there about gremlins.
Yeah, I said that we were fighting some gremlins.
Yeah, and the responses were don't feed them.
You're supposed to not feed them at this time, and at least not water.
Now we know. So we'll be sure not to do that next time around. So. Anyway, if you have any real comments or questions to give us, feel free. We are standing by for that. So this week, 4 games. You know, we had said that we were happy with, what, 6 points, right?
We'd be happy with 6 of 8.
We figured
points.
4 were a lock. 6 we'd be very happy with, and then 8 obviously is always the desired result. But this week again, you know, we're getting on point here. I think it's the 3rd week in a row we've guessed the right amount. I could be wrong. I think it's 3 in a row.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I said I was worried about Winnipeg and Arizona.
There you go.
Arizona was a tough game.
Yeah.
No.
Never mind. Are we back?
Yeah.
We're back. Good. So that first LA game I think was closer than we'd like, though. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, like you said, the Winnipeg game was rough. The Arizona game was a lot closer. But that first LA game, 4-3, took us overtime. The Sharks came out to a nice big lead, and then all of a sudden just kind of evaporated at overtime. So good to see them get the 2 points on that one. Game, and then they crawl back in, and then you get a point, or you know, right? It just doesn't feel as good as if you were to come from behind. We lose the feed a little bit there. You're done. It's the Paul show. Here we go, guys. You ready?
Great. You want me to keep going?
Don't talk.
Do your quote again.
Which quote?
Watching live from Toronto late at midnight. Go Sharks from Kirk McLean. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for staying up and tuning in.
And another one watching from St. Louis. Awesome. What do you think about
St. Louis, the place where we're converting fans.
Right?
Yes. Is this the same guy?
I don't know.
Okay, it's more than one then if it's not.
What do you think about Gregor?
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's got some staying power. He's been playing well on the 4th line. That's one of the big concerns people, at least online, have been having. You know, they want a 4th line that's going to do something for the Sharks, not just to go out there and soak up some minutes. Personally, I don't look to the 4th line as the line that needs to put up many goals or anything. It's the line where you've got Melker, who's, you know, a PK specialist. You generally have Barclay Goodrow there, but this season he seems to be playing up. And I think Gambrello's fit in nicely. He got a goal. I think it was his first goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Gregor, right?
Well, no. Well, Gregor got his first goal as well. I think Gambrello in his first regular season. Nah, maybe not.
No, he's been playing.
He's scored a couple, yeah. So, but Dylan Gambrell threw one in. It was kind of a seeing eye shot, and then of course, Noah Gregor picking up his first as well. I think they're playing really well. I think they're you know, dangerous enough for a 4th line.
That was Gambrell's second goal.
That was his second. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Yeah, I mean they're dangerous enough for a 4th line. I think they're doing well. I'm happy with what they bring. So yeah.
Some people are saying that YouTube is down. FYI, maybe that's why we're having problems, Jason.
I'm still having glitches.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we might be having glitches all night. Sorry, people. Sorry for cutting in.
But it's
and out
not
here.
our fault this time.
Yep.
Right?
I guess. Yeah, it could be all of you.
Even if it's our fault, I'm just gonna say it's not our fault this time.
HBK 150. Who are these people? I don't see Paul and Aaron. We shaved, and our wives are very happy about it.
Yeah, I'm very happy about it.
I am
actually.
too.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting sick of it. It was very long, and I kept playing with it, and it was just getting gross.
I know what you're saying, the playing with it, because I just keep grabbing it and just keep pulling.
Yeah, I keep curling the edges right here. Like I'm sitting there.
Nah, it's no good. No bueno. Oh yeah, get in there.
Now you're gonna stop the feed.
No, it's no good. No good. I'm glad to be done with that. But you know, we did a whole lot of good for the month of Movember. I don't know if you want to throw the numbers up right now, because we're gonna do it on the show. But if you want to tell the people what we did.
I don't have it off the top of my head. Was it $720?
You're the one that was looking at the numbers there, so that's why I was throwing it to you.
I personally raised $510.
Okay.
Because you guys didn't do anything. Personally.
No. I shoved it to the site, or to the group,
which is good.
To the group.
So
yeah,
$735 total. So the team, do the math, $225,
right,
for the team. So thank you Thank you all those people who donated, and we're going to highlight some of the comments that we got this week because we got a lot more donations this last week.
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
I think
there's some funny comments.
I think we did a lot of good. We raised some good money. We had at the beginning of every show, we were giving some good information out, and then of course the Jamie Baker episode. There was a ton of great information for anybody that was going through a rough time and struggling, and getting some pointers on how to help themselves and help others. I think we did a lot of good here. So I'm very happy with the month of November for the show.
Yep. It's funny, Caretaker wanted. I honestly forgot Phil Kessel plays for Arizona. Really unheard his name in the third period. Yeah, he's on the downturn, I'd say, of his career. Still a good goal scorer, still dangerous, but he's not what he used to be. He was kind of doing pretty well. He did well in Pittsburgh for a couple years, and then lately he just wasn't doing so well, and they needed cap space, so they traded him to Arizona. But he's still one of those players that's, if you don't pay attention to him, he's going to score on you.
Do you feel he's the type of player that needs to be surrounded with good talent to really do well?
I don't feel like he's going to drive his own line.
Yeah.
He's not the kind of player that does that. He needs somebody that can give him. He's a goal scorer, elite goal scorer, but he's also not the guy that's going to take being in shape serious. Like, he's almost like that beer leaguer guy that was really good in the day, but drinks too much beer and is a little overweight.
Yeah.
I'm not picking on his weight or anything, but he's just not that. He's not like Patrick Marleau, where he's going to play until 40 years old.
Okay, fair
because
enough.
he takes care of himself, little different type of player. Still, skill is amazing, probably off the charts compared to a lot of players still in the NHL, but that extra little oomph isn't going to be there, so I don't think he's going to last as long.
Gotcha.
I'll say that. How about that?
That works for me. Yeah.
Good. A lot of people are saying our feed is much better and the glitches are gone, so that's good.
Yay.
Thank you, super producer Jason, for overcoming YouTube's fallacies.
Yep. Joseph Stockman, here we go with the trade talk.
Oh boy.
Do you think coming up on the 1/3 part of the season, do the Sharks push for a trade to deepen the forward depth at the trade deadline? What would we give up? Well, it's still a little too early. Trade deadline is not until February, so there's plenty of time. Who knows what's going to happen? Right now, there's so many teams that are in it. I mean, the Sharks were out of it a month ago.
Yeah.
So a lot's going to happen between now and the trade deadline. Way too early to tell. I don't know if they're going to go for anybody. But interesting fact, though, New Jersey is so far out of it.
Yeah.
And
Hall and Subban.
They're probably going to trade Hall, at least, which is a big deal.
They've already gotten calls on Hall and Subban from one team I can't remember, and I think Colorado was another team that was looking for Hall as well. So
Subban, blah, no thanks.
Well, hey, I'm just saying those are two guys that are out there.
Imagine Arizona, I think, has a lot of cap space. What if they got Taylor Hall, right? And then you have Taylor Hall and
Phil Kessel.
Arizona's a weird team. I talked about them on the episode. They're kind of a scoring by committee, so it's hard to, you can't shut down one line because they're all decent lines. No standout lines, but they're all decent lines and they're all going to be dangerous, so it wears on you a little bit. I mean, we saw it against the Sharks. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago?
Saturday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. So anyway, that's, it's all speculation. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of trades and whatnot, I mean, who would we go after? I mean, we don't have a specific name necessarily, but definitely a depth scoring winger. I don't think we can afford a guy like a Taylor Hall, obviously, because the amount of money he's going to command.
Give up something big.
We'd have to give up something big to be able to pull in a Taylor Hall, and I just don't see that happening. Even if you got rid of some players that are on expiring contracts, you have to remember that there are guys that are coming back, specifically like Kevin LeBanc, right? He's going to command a good $4 or $5 million at least. So, you start thinking about the money you have to pay those guys as well. So, I just don't think we're going to bring in a really big name winger, let's put it that way. I think you're going to see somebody who can probably play on the second or third line, something like that. But, in the same way that I think in the beginning of the season, a lot of teams maybe overvalue their prospects, and like the Sharks may have this season, right? And thinking that they'll be able to just jump right in and take some of those minutes on those top lines. I think in the same way, maybe some of the teams are kind of overvaluing where they might be able to get to, right? So like Aaron's saying, it's too early to be able to say, oh, we're out of the playoff picture, because maybe some of those guys that are just barely outside of the playoff picture feel that they are playoff teams, or that maybe they could make a move to get themselves in that position. So, even if there's a team that's kind of, a little bit behind in terms of points, they may feel that they're, still in the hunt there. So, I think it'll take a little bit longer for a trade to get done. I would love to see a trade to get done sooner if it's going to get done, just because it helps the team mesh with that player earlier, as opposed to getting them in the trade deadline. Then you've got 20 games.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a lot tougher.
Right. Yeah. I could see Heed and Radil being traded at some point from Caretaker. Let's see.
I can see Radil getting waived. I don't see him getting traded anymore.
I don't think a team would want him.
I don't think. Yeah. I think it maybe for like a 7th pick or something like that. I mean, someone just takes a flyer on him.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. But I think Tim Heed is the right call there. I think. Again, I've been saying this since last season. I think he's a good enough NHL defenseman. And then I think there's some teams out there could use a guy like that, and he could serve himself well to make a move. I don't really know why he signed back with San Jose. I like that he did, but I don't know why he did because he wasn't going to get.
Else was signing him.
Maybe
he had no tryouts or anything.
Maybe
offers, right?
But he wasn't going to get the minutes. So then I guess if that's the case, is anyone really going to want to trade for Tim Heed, seeing as how he wasn't going anywhere else?
I can see why he signed. If nobody else is going to sign him, it's kind of a prove-it year for him.
Right.
Like prove that you can play and belong in the NHL.
So unless he's shown something to some team this season, which how many minutes has he had to do that? He's probably not getting traded either, right?
Someone corrected me. Nick said Coyotes only have $2.6 million in cap space, and I looked it up. You're right, but they have 2 players on long-term IR. One on long-term IR. Marian Hossa, who's never going to play again, at $5.2 million. And Hammerson is on IR, and he's $5 million. So I mean, they Jalmerson, sorry.
Yeah.
They got his nickname is the Hammer. That's why I kept saying that. Marian Hossa doesn't play. He's done the NHL, but he signed this ridiculous contract. So they basically have $5.2 million in dead money just sitting there. They could always trade that to New Jersey, who's probably going to lose a lot of cap space, or create a lot of cap space. Anyway. How do you think the next 4 games are going to go? Caps, Canes, Lightning, Panthers. It's 4 games in, I think, 6 days or something, because I think it goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of games coming up. I mean, this is actually, this is in my notes for our episode, 7 games in 11 days. Mm-hmm. It's the start. On Tuesday is the start of 7 games in 11 days. And a lot of travel, too, going to the East Coast.
It's rough.
It's a lot. Mm-hmm. But the Sharks are used to it. They knew they were going to be home for most of the games in November and wanted to catch up on where they were. So now we're going to see, okay, what kind of Sharks are we dealing with now? Now that they've kind of evened the boat a little bit, we'll see how they do. How do I think they're going to do? Tampa Bay is not the same team they were last year.
Yeah.
I think they got rattled. I also think they're kind of conserving and not going all out during the regular season so that they can save some energy, save whatever they need to for the playoffs, because they're not, I mean, not that they're terrible, but they're not as dominant.
Middle of the division, I think, right?
Let's take a look. They are 6th, actually. They're in worse place than the Sharks.
There you go.
They got 27 points, and the Sharks have 31.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're not to say that they're not a strong team. They definitely are, but I think they're kind of holding back. They're kind of like, why go all out and get the President's Trophy when it doesn't matter, when you get swept in the first round? So that's my take on them.
Okay.
They're still going to be a tough team. Washington's going to be tough, but at least it's at home.
Yeah.
So they're traveling here. I think that helps a little bit. And I've talked about this a lot before about, the hour change is a big deal going from East Coast to West Coast, because your body takes almost a week to get used to, regardless if you're a professional athlete or not. So you're used to playing a game and finishing by 10:30 at night. Now you're starting a game at 10:30 at night on your body clock, right? That's a big difference. So usually I think if you look historically, and I don't have the stats for this, someone could look this up, but Pacific Coast teams, West Coast teams typically do better when a team starts first coming through on their West Coast trip from the East Coast because of that reason.
Okay.
It takes a while for them to get used to it. Where are we going here? Sorry. Are we still dressing 7 defensemen, or that end when Hurdle came back? And Nick just followed up, said 60 when Hurdle returned.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no reason to do it anymore, right? So if you've got enough forwards, then yeah, just dress it how you normally would. I think the 7 defenseman thing was fine when we had no depth, when we had nobody to bring up. And that's the unfortunate thing. I would like to have seen a couple guys maybe from the Barracuda get a chance, kind of fill in there, especially since Goodrow stepped in and he was playing second line center and he wasn't playing poorly.
Yeah,
he was playing well.
I would have belonged.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen somebody from the Cuda get brought up and thrown on that 4th line. What's a handful of minutes? Yeah. You know what it is? Here's what that handful of minutes is for them. It's a couple minutes that Evander Kane and Timo Meier don't have to spend on the 4th line. It's just extra minutes a night for them. I don't know. Evander Kane said, bring it on. I like the extra minutes, but I'd rather him stay fresh, to be honest. So
I think he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like they asked him. I think he was like...
They're never going to say, I don't want the minutes, though. These are professional athletes.
but
They're never going to say that.
After the game, they asked him, like,
Yeah.
23, 24 minutes. He's like, yeah, it's great. My legs feel great.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
awesome.
That's what I'm saying. They're never going to say, oh, no,
Right.
I didn't want that.
I think it helps
know?
his game. Because I think the more he plays, the better he is.
Maybe.
Because he's a very good player. His speed is elite.
Yeah.
His skill is up there for being elite. I think it kind of just gets him going a little bit more and works harder. Plus, fourth line, you have a different mindset, right? You're going in you're digging pucks out of the corner
Right.
and playing hard. So it's almost like a throwback to maybe your junior days or something when you're kind of learning that 200-foot game.
But that's kind of my point, right? Is if you got Evander Kane now going and playing that grinder type role because he's on the fourth line,
right?
Versus, you know what I mean?
Well, I didn't think it was sustainable. A
Right,
handful
right.
of games is not in November doesn't matter.
And that's fair. I would have rather seen a guy like Alex True get a few minutes, a handful of minutes, right? Just throw him in there for a little bit. You want to throw Evander Kane out there every once in a while extra? Sure, let him do that. But I wouldn't mind seeing True get a couple starts in there, a couple shifts in there. If for anything else, just to see what he brings, what he's got. He's, like I said, he's a big kid. I'd love to see him get out there, and give it a go.
Excuse me. Here's a good question from Sarah. What do you think about the number of penalties that the Sharks have been taking the last couple of games?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, just undisciplined play. Probably a little fatigue.
Yeah.
Some of those are fatigue. We'll probably see a lot of that towards the tail end of this road trip because it's so brutal of a trip.
That's true.
You don't get your legs moving. You're gonna see a lot more stick infractions, hooking, slashing maybe, and tripping for sure.
All those penalties where you're falling behind and because your legs aren't moving, those the trips, the slashes,
all the penalties I get when I play online.
Yes, yeah, exactly. When you're falling behind, not on the scoreboard, but from when you're skating and you're chasing someone and you're not as fast as them because your legs are tired, you tend to get these penalties where you're reaching. So either like a holding or a trip or a hook or a slash, last ditch effort penalties. To try to slow that guy down because your legs aren't working for you as they should. So I think as the road trip goes on, and the games, like you said, there's a lot of games, 7 games in 11 nights.
Yeah.
As that kind of starts to wear, you might see a few more penalties. Now, why are the Sharks penalized so much this season? I have no answer for that. I really don't.
I think part of it's just the first 2 months of the season, the refs are really cracking down on anything and everything that they can, and there's more penalties called in general, but they're also, I think, tired and also undisciplined.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's a mix of both.
Yeah, the refs, that's for everybody across the league. So it's not like they're targeting the Sharks. I know that's where some people are going to say, they're targeting us, right? No, they're really not. The refs are just doing their jobs. But why the Sharks more so than other teams? I like Aaron said, part of it could be fatigued and just general undisciplined play. I think we've seen quite a few times where there's bad defensive breakdowns and they're just, again, trying to catch back up. And they'll get their stick in there and get a penalty for it. So, hopefully that isn't the case moving forward. Hopefully they kind of shore that up and stop taking those penalties and whatnot. Although, it is great having the best PK in the league right now. So they're able to shut it down, which is great. I guess if you really had to, you're up by a goal in a game, take a penalty and just lock it down. I don't know. But, I'd rather see them, out of the box, obviously. A lot more 5-on-5 play, and I think the 5-on-5 play has looked a lot better lately. So
yes, and at the expense of the power play.
Yeah,
I just looked it up. I looked at all 4 games. No power play goals.
0
for 12.
Yeah.
So there were some questions earlier about the power play. Like, do they need to change anything up? I think the power play is kind of a ebb and flow kind of thing, where you're going to be scoring in bunches, and then you're just not going to be scoring in bunches. Things either teams figure it out, just bad luck, a hot goalie. There's so many different reasons. This specifically for the Sharks right now, I just think they're just gone cold, and it happens.
When you talk about goal scorers that go streaky, I think you can have a full-blown power play unit that gets streaky too, right? So it's it's just one of those things. Sometimes the puck's hitting the back of the net. Sometimes they're having a rough time. The thing that bothers me more than anything else is the zone entries when they're not able to enter the zone. That drives me bonkers. I can't stand that. So. Hopefully, if they're going to make any changes, that's the one change I always make is figure out the best way to get yourself into that zone. I know that little backward pass thing that everybody seems to do is kind of like the choice way of getting across the line, but that thing drives me nuts too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, they lose it a lot. Let's take a mention right here.
Yeah,
we're going to do a Black Friday sale.
Yes,
on our store, and it's up live now.
Ooh,
25. No,
it's not up yet.
It's not up yet.
It shows it on the website.
What does it say?
25% off.
does. Oh, okay.
So shop now. The code is Black
Oops.
Friday. 25%
But it's not Black
off.
Friday. We're going into Cyber Monday now.
Right, it's going to be Cyber Monday, but since you are live, or we're live right now
Yes.
with you get a little sneak preview there. So,
Use whatever coupons on the website, either tonight or for tomorrow. It's going to switch over at midnight.
are you mic'd up?
Yes.
Did they hear- okay.
Okay.
Good.
So save 25%. Cyber Monday still supports our show, but this is the deepest discount we've done all year as a thank you to everybody and to kind of help get our brand out there so you can wear it and gift it and show us off.
There you go.
Perfect.
And if you're one of those folks that likes doing the super chat during the live sessions that we have here, feel free to save some money on a hat or a shirt or something and get yourself something nice. There you go.
Corey K said missing the mustaches already, and then when are we bringing them back?
You and nobody else is missing the mustache, let me tell you. When are we bringing them back? Probably in about 11 months.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see next year.
That's
I don't know.
no, it's 11 months. That's the I'm not bringing that thing back. There's no.
No, I don't know if I will bring it back next
Oh,
year.
really?
My point. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Or if
okay.
I do, maybe I'll do something else. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll do the chops that come down like this
Oh.
for a whole month and then come back around. The Lemmy. You know the Lemmy? Comes down with the sideburns down and comes up to the mustache.
I do
and
not
back
know the
down.
Lemmy. I do not want to know the Lemmy.
Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead.
Oh,
That's
thanks.
how you. Whatever.
I'm solid, thank you. No, the only thing I ever do, I mean, I there's that chevron, that big giant marker look that I had earlier, right? That's the only thing I ever do when it comes to mustaches, and I've tried doing the what do you call it, the horseshoe,
Yeah.
and I do that for like a day maybe, just because it looks, it's funny, and then I'm done. I don't want any part
I
of that
thought it was
anymore.
hilarious when I did it.
Yeah, no, it was.
It was gross. That was a big commitment, by the way, for an entire month growing
Yeah.
that stupid thing.
You played too much Red Dead Redemption.
I did.
Yeah.
I did feel like I was in a Western every time I went in the mirror. I should have got a big old bucket hat.
You look like a sheriff from Montana or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah.
no doubt. Anyway.
All right. Thoughts on Burns and Ferraro?
You want to say Burns, or we'll start with Burns?
Okay, let's start with Burns.
Okay, I think Burnsy, there was a lot of talk about giveaways and that whole thing. So here's my whole take on giveaways and the puck being given away. If you look at, I think it was TSN had this up on their site for the stats. If you look at the amount of giveaways that defensemen have, or not even just defensemen, the most giveaways in the league, the Sharks players are not even in the top 20, I think is what it was, right? Or no, sorry, no, it was the differential. So in giveaways, I think Erik Karlsson was like the second most or something like that, and he's the most on the team because someone was saying Brent Burns gives the puck away all the time. I go, actually, it's Erik Karlsson's the one on the team that has the most giveaways. The thing is, Erik Karlsson also has like the fourth most takeaways in the league. So when you look at the differential, he's still on the minus, but it's not nearly as bad. When you look at the differential between giveaways and takeaways, any of the Sharks are in like the top 20 in the league. And of the top 20, 18 of them are defensemen. Generally high-level defensemen as well. This is
You want me
something
to
that
tell you who it is right now? In the
you
league?
can't. I know Roman Yossi's up there too.
Drew
Doughty
Doughty
is number one. Yeah.
46. Number 2, Erik Karlsson. And then the next Shark is Brent Burns. He is 15th with 33.
He's down the line. Now, if you go and look at the differential, if you sort it by diff, with the negative being the top one there.
Where's differential?
Where it says, it's not on there. It's not on yours, but anyway, so when I was looking at it, if you look at the differential, you look at the takeaways, and Carlson's up there in takeaways. So anyways,
natural stat trick, is that why?
no, it was on TSN. Regardless, like, so with the differential there, right, in terms of giveaways and takeaways, again, none of the Sharks are even in the top 20. The top 18 were all defensemen. I mean, this is just a stat that defensemen are going to rack up over time. I think Mark Giordano has a +2 on the differential, which is awesome. That's phenomenal. He does not give the puck up very often, and when he does, he's constantly taking the puck back. So Mark Giordano is awesome when it comes to that stat. But I just think that when you look at that number and you look at the fact that there's a ton of defensemen there, this is just something that is going to happen. It's not unique to Brent Burns. It's not unique to Erik Karlsson. It's a little more unique to defensemen who are very good at what they do and pass the puck a lot. They're going to get the puck taken away now and then. It's going to happen because that's the nature of their position. They're meant to try to move the puck up the rink, and they do it often enough that, yes, sometimes it gets picked. Now, in terms of takeaways, they don't always have the opportunity to take the puck away because they're playing defense. They're playing farther back in the zone. I would imagine that more forwards would get takeaways. I'm not even sure about that, but I would imagine more forwards would get takeaways because they're pressuring more often. It would stand to reason that if a defenseman giving the puck away more often, that a forward would be taking it from them, right? As opposed to another defenseman taking it away. Regardless, I just noticed that that's something that people were complaining about, and I just don't think that that's really the stat to focus in on because that's league-wide. It's kind of like when we say, oh, the Sharks, which team's going to show up today? The good Sharks or the bad Sharks? They're so inconsistent. Dude, every fan base says that about their team, right? So it's not unique to the Sharks. It's not unique to Brent Burns.
Last year's Tampa Bay Lightning was very consistent and played dominant all year, and look what happened.
And then, yeah, so that's my whole take on at least with the giveaways, because that's kind of everyone's biggest concern is that he can't play defense and he always gives the puck away. And again, when we talked to Doug Wilson, he said, Brent Burns is a guy you play in all situations. So yes, he can play defense. And in terms of the giveaways, again, from my take on it, it's just something that's going to get racked up when you're a higher level defenseman. If you look at that list, it's all high level defensemen, right?
Right.
So that's my whole take on it. Now, Mario Ferraro, on the other hand, I don't look at that stat or anything. I'm just looking at the way the kid plays. He's phenomenal. He's impressed me every single night that I've seen him out there. From his defensive play to his passes up the ice to him charging into the offensive zone and pinching in tight, and his work ethic, he skates ridiculously hard every single time. You never see this guy gliding anywhere. You see him just trudging along everywhere he goes. You just churning those legs. So I'm really happy with everything that I've seen out of Mario Ferraro. He's got a really bright future, and I'm really excited to see where he goes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think he's a fantastic add to the lineup, and I think the Sharks are kind of lucky that he was ready, because how many times have we seen a defenseman come up, 6th, 7th defenseman, and they just weren't ready. They're too young.
Tim Heed.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Just couldn't handle it, and he looks like he's belonged since day one. Mm-hmm. Maybe, a few hiccups here and there as a rookie, but
he's a rookie.
No big deal.
Yeah. He's just a really good blend of offense and defense. I really like. He brings everything to the table.
Oh, that sauce he had last week was amazing.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. Caretaker wanted. I was surprised to see Jones play back to back. I was too, but it was a 1:00 game followed by a 5:00 game the next day. Mm-hmm. Arizona's not too far of a travel. I can understand it. They're going to want to play him because Dell got kind of beat up against Winnipeg. I thought for sure they would have gone. They wouldn't have put Dell in against Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I thought they would have put him against one of the back-to-backs.
And you know what's funny is even though we lost 5-1, was it, against Winnipeg?
Yep.
And there was an empty net goal there. I'm looking at the highlights again because I have a bad memory. But like if I look at the highlights again, my goodness, the amount of saves that Aaron Dell made. He made a lot of really big saves that game. I thought he played extremely well that game. There's the goals that went in. You look at them. There was the power play goal that went to Ovechkin office for Laine. Right. And Patrick Laine, when he gets a hold of that one, it's probably going in. Right. There was the one where they had two human Zambonis, Burns and somebody else. I think it might have been either Couture or Ferraro. They were both sliding.
I think it was Couture.
And by the time the puck goes in the net, you got two defensemen on the boards behind the net on their bellies.
They took themselves out of the play.
I cannot fault Aaron Dell for something like that, where it's like a little toe drag and guy misses it, guy picks it up, walks around him.
The only goal that was bad was the one off his glove.
Off the glove,
and unfortunately, it was the second goal of the game, and I think that kind of changed the tide a little bit.
Took the wind out of the sail.
The Sharks were not playing well, just in general. Their offense wasn't there. You could tell they were already thinking about their Thanksgiving dinner the next day, so they just were done.
Yeah.
Karina, every time I think of Ferraro, I think of his YouTube channel.
Yeah. I gotta go visit
funny.
that. I gotta go visit his channel more often.
Let's see. Anything else we want to talk about? They're talking about some of the coaches around the league, Babcock and Peters.
Yeah.
About those news. The news about them. If they're ever going to coach again, do you think either of them will coach? I don't think Peters will. Babcock, they're saying he could go to Seattle. I could see that.
The thing with Babcock is he's got that name recognition. So even if he's done something, that they might frown upon, the league might frown upon, he's got enough name recognition where, yes, he'll probably pull up a job somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know about Bill Peters.
I think he's done.
He's probably done.
I think it was amazing that Calgary kind of dragged their feet on that issue. I thought they should have just fired him right away instead of doing an investigation, because then more stuff came out. I think it made them look bad.
I think it's the responsible thing to do as opposed to a knee-jerk reaction, though. So I don't really fault him for that.
Knee-jerk reaction, just more of like a day or two, not.
Sure.
what was it, a week or something almost?
I'm not sure the total timeline, but
and what's funny is, did you see Ron Francis came out and said something?
I did not see Ron Francis. No.
It was interesting because I guess Bill Peters was in Carolina.
Okay.
First, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think he was a coach. I think he was in some position, capacity, whatever. And Ron Francis complained because he was physical with somebody, a couple guys or something.
Okay.
And he complained to the ownership, and the ownership said, "We'll take care of it, or we'll look into it. We'll investigate."
Mm-hmm.
And then ownership this week said, "Oh, we never knew of anything." So then Ron Francis came out and goes, "No, I told you guys. I told you what happened." And yeah, so it made them look really bad. So just a lot of bad stuff going around with that.
It's kind of like the whole Me Too movement. It's kind of like the Me Too movement, but for hockey, right? I mean, it seems like a lot of guys are kind of coming out with their stories now, which is, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
To kind of squash a lot of this stuff from happening, in future instances. So.
Well, it's good that it wasn't just one thing.
Yeah.
It was multiple things, and more stuff's coming out.
Yeah.
So it just, to me, nobody's going to pick him up as a coach. He's done for sure.
You kind of wonder what other coaches are shaking in their boots right now.
Yeah, right. And Babcock, I think we'll see him again in the NHL.
Okay.
Just because name recognition, what he did with, Mitch Marner, he made them. He
had a list of who's the worst guy, or
and I think he apologized the next day to him. It wasn't like it was unsaid. That's why Mitch Marner was kind of like, it's in the past. Like, that happened a couple years ago. I was already over it. It wasn't that big of a deal. Not that it wasn't that big of a deal, but whatever. All right. Angela Nunes, do you think we can take sole position for second in the Pacific?
Yeah.
We could.
Absolutely, we could. Yeah, no doubt. Is it going to happen this week? Maybe. Does it matter if it happens this week? No.
I don't think it'll happen this week.
Here's the thing: standings are great, but we just entered December. Like, there's months of hockey to go still. I'm not really worried about the standings and where we are in the standings. It's nice when you're obviously higher up, and it's nice when you're not like way down low, out of a playoff spot, and just like New Jersey right now, right? If we were in New Jersey's spot, we'd be like, yeah, this sucks.
I do enjoy being above Vegas.
I love it too.
And I do enjoy seeing Anaheim and LA at the very bottom.
I love that too.
Because they're both at the bottom now.
But it does not matter. At this point in time, it really doesn't matter. I think really when the standings really, really matter, it's closer to like the trade deadline, for me at least.
I like
there's so much movement that can happen right now.
I like looking. I've done this before where I've changed the standings, the point system to 3 points per win. What I want to do.
Yeah.
Now they've added a column for regulation wins. Did you see that?
Yeah, RWs. Yeah.
Yeah, there's RW and ROW. If you look at the Sharks, they have 10 regulation wins, 12 regulation losses. It's still not great.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have 3 overtime wins. How many shootout wins do they have? 2 shootout wins, so that's 5 games that have gone to overtime or been decided in overtime. And 1 overtime loss, so 6 games went to overtime. And overtime, in the regular season, is not like overtime in the playoffs. So that's why I said, just make it a tie. Just make it a tie. Get rid of it.
I'm not a fan of ties.
I hate it. If it was a tie, they'd be 10, 12, and 6.
So?
And I think it shows the strength and weaknesses of teams better.
Okay.
That's my point.
Okay.
If you look at Arizona has 15 wins in the win column. They have 9 wins in regulation.
Yeah.
That's bad. They're 4-2 in the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone to 6 shootouts. That's ridiculous. So that, to me, they can't score, but they also don't give up goals. They've given up the least amount of goals in almost the league, actually.
By the way, what's pretty interesting is if you look at the standings for the Pacific and you look at the goal differential for all the teams, there's like the top 5
Edmonton
teams.
+6,
Yeah.
Arizona +11, San Jose -9, Vancouver +9, Vegas +2,
And then it starts dropping off, right?
then -13, 11, and 19.
Yeah. So we are the only team in like the top 5 in the Pacific that are in the minus in goal differential, but that was because of a very abysmal start, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like a promising sign because we're trending in the right direction right now, right? So we've had all these games where we've had like really bad, in terms of goal differential, but we've got a lot of wins now because we're climbing back up. That -9 being one of the only one of the top 5, that's in the minus. I think it's promising. It shows that the Sharks are playing the right way, and we're moving up in the standings, and we're gaining on the goal diff right now.
You know what's crazy? Boston +34.
Oh wow.
And then Colorado plus 22. They're a dangerous team. They were
Colorado's
missing
solid.
well, Rantanen just came back, but
Yeah.
they were missing Rantanen and Landeskog for a good couple of weeks and didn't really miss a beat. It's pretty amazing.
Nice. Well, we did the same with Hurdle.
Yeah, but they're not as deep as the Sharks.
So.
They are now.
Yeah.
Better than last year.
But we're not that deep as we were last year either.
That's true.
So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, where are we now? Sorry. What do you think Brent Burns ate for Thanksgiving?
I asked him.
Yeah, he did ask him it.
So
Practice,
I said,
right?
and maybe that's why he asked the question.
I don't know. It's Jack Frost.
I didn't get to follow up and ask, but I did ask him. I said, "What are you gonna have for Thanksgiving? Turkey or axis deer?" And he said, "Probably all of it, like everything." Oh, okay, great. So yeah, the wild man probably just harvesting tons of animals and just throwing down. You know how he likes his food though. He likes everything lean. He doesn't want any fat on it. So
Right.
he had that special where he had shown in his freezer or his fridge or whatever it was, and he was showing the meat off, and there's like literally no white in the meat whatsoever. It's just red the whole way through, like no fat, super lean. So yeah, no, he's probably threw down a whole bunch of different animals, and I can only imagine. Yeah.
What do you think about Angry Carlson? He was throwing a lot of F-bombs out
Yeah.
in the penalty box.
Yeah, not before he got to the penalty box.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time. Apparently, there was the same kind of thing in Ottawa where they caught him on the ice. The mic picked up his.
One guy
Are
said,
you effing kidding me?
Rick said it was childish. Caretaker, oh man, Carlson was not happy about that penalty. Joseph said, I would like to see Carlson get more aggressive along with Burns.
More aggressive?
I feel like they're pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you mean physically aggressive. Is maybe
Well,
what you mean.
I don't want to see Erik Karlsson get physically aggressive.
He's too small to
yeah.
get physically
I
aggressive.
would like to see Burns get a little more physically aggressive. You
I
remember
miss-
the Burnsy butt check.
I missed that. He doesn't
Yeah.
do it as often.
He doesn't do it ever anymore.
I mean, he's 30, what is he, 34, 35? Maybe that's why.
I
Doesn't
don't
wanna hurt
know.
himself.
I don't think he can hurt himself. That dude is a tank.
I don't know, man.
He's got no fat. He's got no butt.
Yeah. Well, okay.
You could hurt your back,
Yeah.
especially, at our age.
29.
Yeah, 29.
Yeah, right.
That's right. No, I'd like to see Burnsy get a little more physical. I understand the whole injury aspect of it, but as far as Karlsson, I'd just like to see him move his legs a little bit more. I think he's faster than what he's shown us. Although there was a sequence, quite a few sequences where they were showing him defensively, and he was all over the place. I can't remember exactly where it was, but there was somebody on Twitter had said, tell me again how Erik Karlsson doesn't play defense or whatever it was, and it was just the sequence of him chasing the puck all over the place, and he kept breaking plays up. I can't remember where it was now, which game that was, but yeah, I'd like to see more of that out of Erik Karlsson in the defensive zone. That's me.
Yep. Here's a good one. Caretaker wanted. Is it just me, or does it look like Jumbo's coming into form? Seems like he's moving around a bit more. I think so. I think we kind of talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago. He's taking some days off from practice. He calls it a spa day, I think, right?
Yeah.
Where he's taking care of his body. He's getting more massages. He's not working as hard to keep his body going, because, I mean, he is 40 years old. But I think his knee's healthy. Both knees are healthy. Mm-hmm. I think he was able to train going into the season, so that helped. I think he's playing the long game instead of day-to-day kind of thing. So he's kind of planning ahead and taking care of his body. The Sharks are playing better. They're playing better defensively, so he's not having to track back as much and play defense. Because, man, there's some games where I'm like, this is definitely it. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be his last year. I don't think he's gonna come back. I don't think, just watching him play, he's not the same player he was. Yeah. Obviously, he's missing some of his passes that are usually pretty spot on. You're kind of like, what was that? You just iced the puck. Like, you weren't even close. So I think I still think he's good, but this is definitely it for him, and I think he knows it, and he's trying to extend it kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen his ability to protect the puck is kind of limited now. He's obviously not as fast as he used to be. He never was like super fast anyway, but now it seems like, his ability to make the pass is starting to dwindle a bit, and I'm sure that's very frustrating for a player of his caliber. When like the hockey mind is there, but the body's not responding in the way that you'd like it to. But again, he's 40. He's got to decline at some point in time. So For a guy that's
many-
a third-line center, though, I still think he's doing fairly well. I think
Yeah.
he still makes the players around him better, and I think, again, that character guy in the locker room, there's a lot of people that would much rather have a really good character guy who's, good enough on the third line and still in that lineup. So I think, he's got a place on this team. I don't know if this is his last. I know Aaron's pretty sure about it. I don't know that it's his last season. I think he might try to do another one after this. I really feel like he might try to do one more. But I think you're right. He's taking a different approach to this season than he has in other seasons. I think he is, again, like you said, those spa days. He's kind of realized that he can't go out there and go all the time, every time. He has to kind of pull back a little bit and give his body a chance to recover because that's what his body needs now. Much in the same way that Brent Burns eats axis deer because that's what his body needs, right? This is what Joe Thornton needs. He needs that extra time for an aging body to feel better and get better, and I think that's what he's doing. I have this feeling like I feel like he should retire, but I just don't think that he will. I don't think that he'll want to, and I think that Doug Wilson would probably still even give him another season, another shot. If you can have Joe Thornton for another season, even just at the $1 million, or even if it was $2 million again, I think if he can prove that he can still handle it, he can still play, even if he needs to take a few days off, from the season. I think he brings him back. Yeah, Aaron gave a little cough there. I think it should be his last season. I'm not 100% convinced. I'm not saying definitely that it will be. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Scott Kemp, can we finally squash the idea of Pete getting fired? Yes, please. I still see it every now and then.
Yeah.
Like, just come on.
If there's a loss, you see it.
Right.
Right. When there's not a loss, people
the
don't
sky
say
is
it.
falling. People come out whenever there's a loss.
See,
Especially
I told you.
5-1 against
Well,
Winnipeg. Wow, that's
There's
really
the sky is
close.
falling Zoom. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. I think he has a very good pulse on the team. I always did. It's funny as Kevin Kurz tweeted out, was it last week, saying like, raise your hand if you said the Sharks would be in a playoff position a month ago. And I was like, I definitely have been saying that. If you watched our show,
we did.
We both have been saying that. So
You know what I love is I think it was like about a month ago or so. I'm not sure if it was a comment on Twitter to us or something like that where people were saying, "Do you still think they're a playoff team?" Because we were like in like the dumps during that time, and I'm like, "Yeah, I still think we're a playoff team."
Yep.
And again, what did I say? I said I feel like this team is not playing to their potential. They're not playing like the team that we know that they can be. They do have like a problem with depth, sure, but the Sharks are better than this. And when they start playing better than this, the wins will come. This is not their default. This is them underachieving. They're gonna get, what'd you say? What'd you call it? A market correction, right? I think we're starting to see some of that market correction. We're getting back to where we
Logan
are.
Couture, how many goals is he putting away right now?
Exactly.
Right?
So Logan was playing how long? He had one goal. Do you believe that
brutal,
Logan Couture
man.
is a one-goal player after 15 games, 20 games, whatever it was?
He's up to 8 now.
Yeah. A market correction. So I think, again, you have to look at it, and a bunch of people freak out because, hey, hockey's back, and we were into it, and I get that, and that's awesome, and it's great, but then you tend to kind of, shoot a little too high on how much everything is worth. You put too much value on the fact that the Sharks have like a 5-game losing streak at that point in time. Or you put too much value on the fact that they're last in the division after 10 games or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I think, just like how we always do the show, very even keel, very, kind of relaxed. We're taking a look at the bigger picture. And when I look at the bigger picture, I don't just look at the standings at that point in time and say, oh, they suck, we're done. Are the Sharks better than this? Yes. Are they going to be able to show that they're better than this? I hope so, because this is not where their default, where their baseline is. This is under that. When they get back to that or overachieve, market correction, they get back to above that, then yeah, we're going to see them back in the mix. So for us, were they always a playoff team? Yes, they were always a playoff team, and we always said that. And no matter how many times people kept telling us, oh, do you still think they're a playoff team? Because they're like, yes, I still think they're a playoff team. Give them time, I promise you. So this is why we wait till Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving and everything else, guys. So there you go.
Going back to Joseph, he was talking about Carlson being more physical.
Yeah.
Carlson, I feel like, hasn't used his legs a lot of the season to skate. Would be nice to see him use those edges.
Yeah.
And Angelo followed up and said EK65 has better players around him, so he doesn't have to push it so much. And then Joseph followed up, but the money he got paid, he needs to be pushing it. Now, I have a little bone to pick about that because now that everyone knows what everybody makes these days, because it's all out there, it used to not be like that.
Yeah.
People weren't as harsh on their paid players, basically, or their all-star players. Now, Karlsson doesn't have to be the player that he was in Ottawa because Ottawa, when at the time, had nobody else to do anything, so he was the guy. I still think he makes the team better. I think his passing, his entry into the zone on the power plays, and I mean, not every time. It's not going to happen every time, but he's great, and I think, is he worth the money? Was it $11.5 million? Mm-hmm. That was the market price. That was the market price to keep him in San Jose for 8 years. Is he worth that? That's debatable, but who cares? Is Kevin LeBanc worth $1 million?
Oh, yes, totally.
No, he's worth more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
He should be paid, what, $3 million at least this season?
3-4.
All right, take $3 million off of Karlsson. It's the same wash in terms of your cap space.
Okay.
Now you're just taking, now it's $9 million to Karlsson and $3 million to...
But that only works for this season.
I'm just saying, what does it matter? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People just get mad and then they go, oh, well, Pavelski didn't sign because... No, Pavelski was gone anyway.
Yeah. He was only going to get a 2-year deal with San Jose, and he wanted 3.
He was gone.
So, same reason Patrick Marleau left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get really angry when people are like, well, he's the highest paid player. He should be the leading scorer. He should be leading the league because he's the most paid. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not a one-person show.
Yeah.
Even though he's the highest paid player, so what?
But
he makes the team better.
You will always get that comparison, though, when you have a dollar amount and then you start looking at points. You start looking at performance and what that player brings to your stat line, basically, is what it comes down to, right? And like we talked about giveaways and all that stuff. So there will always be that comparison, and I get that. I'm not as animated as Aaron is about that. I wouldn't just say animated, but just angry, I guess.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I see it all the time, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah. And it's fine. It's
some players are overpaid and some players are underpaid.
Yeah,
it washes out.
Yeah, no, and again, it's fine to have that emotion towards people saying those things, and I understand it. Having said that, yeah, it's not always going to translate to the most points in the league or the most goals or the strongest in the defensive zone, or it's not always going to lead to that. Again, like Aaron said, that's what it costs to have Erik Karlsson on your team. It's not like you're going out and you go into the store and you're buying grapes, right? I mean, Safeway has a really good deal on grapes. You should have gone to Safeway and bought grapes. You're not going to get the same product for cheap, right? So it's just that's what it costs. Period. No matter which way you slice it, that's how much the guy was going to go out and get paid. And if you want him as a part of your team, that's just what you have to pay for him. So the question is, are the Sharks a better team with Erik Karlsson or without Erik Karlsson on the team? I personally think that they're a better team with Erik Karlsson there. Even if you add in, who could have we assigned instead? We could have brought Pavelski back, maybe.
I don't think.
Even if you could have.
Yeah.
Do I think that the Sharks are a better team with Erik Karlsson than Joe Pavelski? Yes, I do. I honestly do.
I also think he wasn't 100% starting the season.
Karlsson? Yeah, no. I still don't think he's 100%.
No, I think he's still getting into his groove, and we're going to see him December, January, February. He's going to start picking it up.
And the other thing to remember too is that try to look beyond. See, and again, people are more short-sighted, right? You look at the standings at November. Where are we in the standings, right? It's very short-sighted. Even just this season. Well, how's he going to end up this season? Are we a playoff team with him? Or guys, look beyond that. We've signed him for 8 years. I mean, there's a lot of Erik Karlsson for this team for a long time. And I would rather have that for a long time than have Joe Pavelski for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. And look, he's aging and all that, sure, yes, but I just don't think that I love Pavelski, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he brings the same depth of talent that Erik Karlsson does and the ability to help all of his teammates the way Erik Karlsson can. So I know it sounds like I'm holding Erik Karlsson on a pedestal here, but he really is, he's a phenomenal player. He really can be a phenomenal player. Now, much like the Sharks in the beginning of the season, can he be better? Yeah, I think he can. Will he be better? I sure think so. And if I'm right about the Sharks, I hope I'm right about Erik Karlsson as well. So we'll see how that goes. But again, I would rather have Erik Karlsson for 8 years. I think he's a phenomenal player, and I think he makes everyone around him better.
I agree. All right, let's do roll call since we're going to be on for about another 5 minutes here. Roll call, tell us where you're watching and how you found us. And let's take a question about Bark the Goodrow.
Stud.
Do you think Goody is getting a huge raise if he can keep up the pace?
Ooh. That's actually a good question.
Yep.
Wow. I want to say yes, I really do. But at the same time, I feel like the Sharks, by the time he would need to get his raise, I feel like the Sharks are going to be looking to free agency for that winger that they really need.
He's signed for 2 more years, this season and the next season.
Oh, okay. So
he's not a UFA for another season, but that's the year. Let's see. They're doing the draft, not this next summer, but the one after for Seattle.
Okay.
So he'll be a free agent then. But we also are expecting the cap to go up.
Yeah.
So I think they'll have more space. We'll see. But
do I think he gets a pay raise? I mean, it depends on that second season, really. Like this season, he's getting his opportunities, which is great.
He's doing well.
Yeah.
Now, if he can continue next year and stay at the same pace, maybe not get better, but do what he's doing.
Unless they pass on bringing somebody else in, like a true scoring winger.
But I think he's played himself at least to the third line.
Maybe.
Next year.
Maybe. Because you think Jumbo's not coming back, so he can play third line center, maybe.
And they'll probably have one of the guys coming up from Cuda for next year.
I would hope. Yeah. At this point, I would hope.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think if he plays the same way that he's played all next season as well, then yeah, he's probably looking at a pay raise. Whether it's with the Sharks or not, I would hope that it's with the Sharks, but depends on how much he wants and what his production looks like. But having said that, yeah, if they bring in another scoring winger and he doesn't have an opportunity to play any higher in the lineup than a third line role, maybe he gets paid kind of the same amount because he's not going to get the ice time like he was getting when Hertl was out. So his numbers are probably not going to look as good playing with lesser team or line mates than those top 2 lines and lesser time than he would if he were on those top 2 lines.
I think he's just a utility knife.
He is.
Basically.
Swiss Army knife, yeah.
And I think because of his PK skills, he's going to be re-signed, I would imagine.
He's kind of like a better Melker Karlsson, right? I mean, he brings the PK, but he's a guy that you move up the lineup and he plays well.
Let's say I wouldn't be surprised if next season, his last season under this contract, he gets signed an extension.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting until he hits free agency or something.
Maybe, yeah. I could see that.
Also depends on some of the other players. I mean, for sure there won't be Thornton and Marlowe. There's 2 guys gone in 2 seasons. Definitely not Thornton. Maybe
okay,
Marlowe.
yeah. I would say I would agree with you on Thornton there. I think Marlowe might have a little bit more in the tank. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see. Oh, by the way, how are we doing on time?
2 minutes.
Okay.
What's up?
No, I just wanted to check because
we're gonna end it at 10.
Yeah.
How has Samula looked at center before he got hurt? I mean, he only played a handful of games and he looked okay, but not enough to stay in the lineup, I think.
I think he could potentially stay in the lineup getting healthy again.
I think he's just another rotating guy.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
He hasn't played well enough or enough to be a staple in the lineup.
Let me put it this way then. I think he could potentially stay on the roster.
Okay.
Maybe not get pushed down to the AHL again. Maybe he gets a stay on the roster so that he gets cycled in with maybe Gambrell or whoever else is coming out. But yeah, maybe not, playing every single night. Because that kind of hurt him last season too, the amount of games that he was playing. They had to push him back down. So, yeah, I don't think he has...
It was a big transition last year.
Yeah.
It was his first time coming over to North America.
Definitely. So. I mean, he got a lot of time in the AHL, which is great. Get the conditioning that you need, and you adjust to the speed that you need, right? And then, chance to come up and play with the big boys. So, yeah, I think maybe Suomela might not be playing with the Barracuda. We'll put it that way. He may stick with the roster, maybe not playing every night, but kind of the traveling scratch, if you will.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. I think I'm going to call it a minute early.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it. Yeah, just a reminder, 25% off on Cyber Monday. Since you guys are on, it's live, so I'm going to send the link again. So feel free to purchase some swag. We got, actually, we don't have it up anymore.
No.
We got T-shirts, T-shirts with the Fin Factor logo. We got hats. We got stickers. The T-shirts we have are in gray, teal, and black. And we have a women's black deep V cut. And the hats are just one size fits all with the strap.
Snapback.
You got yours right there.
Snapback.
It's a snapback.
No, it's, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks. We're gonna record our episode now, and hopefully have it out by tomorrow. I think our producer fell asleep back
Might
there.
have fallen asleep.
I think I'm just gonna ignore that one. Look for it to come out this week.
Yeah, there
With
you go.
that.
Okay. Anything else? We good?
I think we're good.
Okay. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in. The questions and comments are always fun, and sometimes it gives us a nice idea for the show. We might throw that Barclay Goodrow Rays question in there. That was a pretty good one. I like that.
Yeah.
So with that, we will bid you adieu. So for super producer Jason, I'm Paul,
And I'm Aaron.
and we will see you guys
Later this week.
later this week. Bye, guys.
Bye.